If I was about to fire up a 6K map and start a new playthrough on 6K and 7 Days to Die, Pregen06K3 would be an awesome choice. This one has a small northern forest area, but it has some real obvious go-to points right away. First off, you see the two forest traders, one up top here by this loop, the other down in the southern corner of it. One of the benefits both of these trader locations have is they are relatively close to a decent sized little town. So getting through and starting your exploration or getting kicked off on some trader quests to get that bicycle quick would be the way to go. Now, if you are following the trader quest progression, we start off up here in the forest. We'd go over to the burnt forest where there is 3 trader locations. Then the game would send us down to the desert. We got 4 trader locations here, one kind of up here in the middle of nowhere. Then next over to the snow biome where we've got 2 different trader locations. And then in the wastelands where there's 2 trader locations as well. Now, if you look around through this map, every trader, with the exception of this oddball Trader Bob up here in the desert, every trader is relatively near a town. That one, I guess, is pretty stretched out there too. Jen wanting to get a little quiet time, so she went out here. But we got traders directly located near towns, which means there's going to be lots of POIs to loot near the trader. One of the biggest draws to me on this map is that huge wasteland city. So if you're wanting to get through to end game and crank your game stage way up and get the best possible loot and have the highest difficulty experience, then the wasteland, of course, is the place. And we've got an enormous city here on the wasteland, even though it is on a smaller 6K map. Now, nothing wrong with playing the 6K maps. Your playthrough will go a little bit faster as there's going to be less to explore. However, there is just tons going on this particular map. If we take a look at the book containers, there's 993 total book containers. These, of course, are in just about every POI you could come to, with large abundances of them near the cities. If we fine-tune that down and take a look at crack-a-book locations, you do have 2 crack-a-books here in the burnt forest. If you head up to that northern town, there's going to be a country crack-a-book, and then in that southern burnt forest town, there's a regular crack-a-book store. Down in the desert, there's a Crack-a-Cafe, which this one will be a must-stop, and then a regular Crack-a-Book store over in the eastern town. In the snow biome, there is a Crack-a-Book store in that larger snow city, and then 2 of them directly in the wastelands. We got a Crack-a-Book headquarters and another Crack-a-Book store. As far as, Crack-a-Books are always must-hit locations. This Crack-a-Cafe, I think, is the most important Crack-a-Book on the map. In fact, it's relatively centralized in a city with roads you can get to it relatively easy. This is a location I would come back to every 7 days. If the loot and locations are resetting about every 7 days, which I believe that's the default settings, then you're going to want to come back over and re-loot that Crack-a-Cafe every 7 days of play. Now, you do have the Crack-a-Book headquarters, but of course this is a large office building, not a retail center, and not necessarily the best for books, even though there will be quite a few books in there. I, for one, am always a big fan of hitting up Shotgun Messiahs. Additionally, I love the range-type POIs. We do have a Shotgun Messiah. This one's a ransack Shotgun Messiah, directly down in that larger desert town. And then we've got 2 locations in the snow. We got a Shotgun Messiah range right to the south side of that larger snow biome town, and then another Shotgun Messiah range right here in that western town on the north end of it. Now remember, it's not just about the named Shotgun Messiah ranges. You also have those close encounter ranges. There's 2 of those which are going to be really good with Shotgun Messiah books. One of them is going to be in this largest burnt forest town, and then another over to the far east side of that larger eastern desert town. Now, when it comes to getting that Shamway Recipe, you will more than likely just get it from one of your trader quests. It is a very, very common reward. If you're doing trader quests, you're just going to see the Shamway Recipe. If you're not playing with traders or you just want to explore, there is quite a few Shamway locations out there. We've got a Shamway processing right here in that northern desert town. We've got 3 locations in this large town: a Shamway warehouse, a downtown Shamway, and then another Shamway processing. In the snow biome, we've got a Shamway processing, we've got a downtown Shamway, and then over in the wasteland, we have a downtown Shamway and a Shamway processing. If you want a higher chance of getting that recipe, you're going to be wanting to look for the Shamway lab safes. These are never in Shamways. They're going to be in one of 2 places. Up here in the burnt forest, we've got an NDC checkpoint number 2. And then down in the desert, there is a massive Gaines Mall. When it comes to overall Tier 5 POIs, there is a nice amount of them. They are scattered through the map. There's 22 total Tier 5 POIs. We've got a Grover High over in the southwestern part of the forest, and then a U.S. Army Post number 7 up in that northeastern area of the forest. Then in the burnt forest, we have a 2-bit tower. In the desert, we're going to have a Navascane County Jail, a Haven Hotel, and a Higashi Pharmaceutical. Over in the more western desert city, we've got a U.S. Army Post number 7 and a Grover High School. In the snow biome, right in the middle of town, there is a Poppin' Pills factory, and then always located outside of any major cities is the Red Mesa compound. That main city in the wasteland, of course, is just jam-packed. There is a Vanity Tower here, a Grover High right there. We got a Navascane Corrections, another Vanity Tower right here, a Minotaur Theater, a Crack-a-Buck Headquarters, the Ostrich Hotel, a Navascane Athletic Complex, a U.S. Army Post number 7, a Dishong Tower, another Poppin' Pills factory here, and then a Dr. Karen Higashi residence. It's just a really nice selection of POIs combined with those traders being just ideally located. You could, if you're really working trader quests, you could have like a large base, say, at this intersection right here, and you're going to easily be able to access both traders to knock out just a ton of trader quests. Now, very robust wastelands area there for sure. Now, if you're wanting to find some of the more secret bomb shelter type areas, we've got a Hexagon Hideaway right here in the desert. Now, a Hexagon Hideaway is going to be easy to pass right by. It looks like just a shack. You're going to want to go around out back. There will be a small little shed out in the back. Flip a switch in the shed, and that will give you the access to the basement, which will allow you to explore the Hexagon Highway bomb shelter. That is actually the only bomb shelter on this map, but we do have some hidden bunkers. Starting off with Hidden Hollow, right in the middle of the desert, just south of the central river areas. This one's going to be super easy to run into early game. This one is a Hidden Hollow. Now, Hidden Hollows, of course, are always easy to miss, but they will follow one basic setup. There's going to be a car just kind of out in the middle of nowhere, and then if you look around that car area, you will find an air vent. In between the car and the air vent, there is always going to be that hatch leading down. This one's going to take you down into Hidden Hollow. In addition to Hidden Hollow, there is a Prepper's Den, kind of hidden bunker. This one's going to be in that kind of northern panhandle of the desert, so to speak. The Prepper's Dens are always super, super easy to miss because there's just not a whole lot there. There is going to be a lamp right by the hatch, and there will be a kind of an air vent pipe coming up out of the ground that you could possibly run into with your vehicle. That's how I usually end up finding a Prepper's Den, but there is a Prepper's Den right here in the desert. And no doubt, of course, if you want to farm, you're going to want some super corn, and the super corn is always going to be in 2 different POIs, Bob's Boars and Carl's Corn. With Bob's Boars and Carl's Corn, you can just smash right through the front door. The super corn's going to be right there to your right. So if you just head upstairs, kill off the locals, and flip some switches, you can access that supercorn and the supercorn recipe. There, of course, is that Bob's, Boar's, and Carl's corn right in that burnt forest area. There is another Bob's, Boar's down here in the snow biome over to the western side of that main snow biome city. And then the other POI is the NDC Checkpoint 3. Now, this one is a fun POI, so I normally tell everybody to run it. However, the supercorn is very, very accessible from the outside. If you hammer through this fence right here, the supercorn is always in that green building. If you're going through the POIs, just keep an eye out for green, like modular outdoor housing units. But you can go right through the fence here, and the supercorn will be right there for you. And that, of course, includes the recipe. There are always a limited amount of hidden stash boxes throughout the map. Now, there's not a ton of these. They're always very, very few. However, I will say I personally have never really gotten anything incredibly good out of them. They're a very limited stash item. They're always very hidden. You got several potential locations. The easiest way to find these in locations is if it is in an underground or cavern location, always look up at the ceiling. You'll see a hole. If you climb up to that hole in the ceiling, the hidden stash is normally right there. Or in the house type POIs, looking around up in the rafters is always quite beneficial. Starting off in the forest, we do have a right residence right in the middle of the forest. Over in the burnt forest, there's a Serrano residence, a mushroom mining company, and a right residence. If you're going to go after any of these, I would highly suggest the Serrano residence POI. It's a super fun POI. It's not super high difficulty. It's a tier 3 POI, but it's got a really cool underground explorable area. Then in the desert, we've got another Serrano residence up here in the Panhandle. Down in the far southeast corner of the map, yet another Serrano residence. And then in the snow biome, there's a mushroom mining company, a right residence, and last but not least, in that big downtown city, there is an Erickson residence. It's always fun to go through the big metropolitan areas and the big skyscraper downtown areas. And we've got two big ones. Of course, that massive wasteland city is going to be packed full of skyscrapers. Additionally, we've got a downtown metro type area over in the desert here as well. This one's going to have a Higashi pharmaceutical, an abandoned office tower, and a demolition site. Over in the wastelands, there's quite a few of them here. We've got a Crack-A-Book headquarters, we've got the H&N Bank building, a Meridian Center, a Dishong Tower, and a tower construction site. So no shortage of skyscrapers to explore if that's the kind of thing you like. So hopefully this helps everyone navigating their experience through the 6K3 map in 7 Days to Die. It is a good map. I personally think it would probably be my favorite 6K3 map, and one that's definitely going to offer a pretty robust experience all the way through to a major wasteland city. That will do it for now, though. Thanks an absolute ton for watching, and I will see you next time around. Take it easy.